All right, part 2 on why you should do a Roth. That's what we're going to talk about here today. So if you haven't looked at the first part of this where I set everything up, please go back and look at the first video here. So now again, the issue is you got a husband and wife. Both are 50 years old. Both make $50,000 a year. They both have $150,000 in their 401ks, so completely deferred. No after tax, nothing like that, just completely tax deferred. They both put $10,000 a year into their 401k. And their company matches them 8% as well. So the company is putting $4,000 in while they're putting $10,000 a year in. All right, so far so good. The two scenarios we ran last time, if they do tax deferrals on these $10,000 deferrals they're putting in, they'd pay $6,346 after tax to the IRS. This is not state, we'll just say they live in Texas. If they do Roth for their, instead of the deferrals going into the tax deferred bucket, it goes to the tax free bucket, or after tax bucket, we should say, they're going to pay $8,740 in taxes. So the difference is $2,349 a year. All right, so let's see what happens now. So they're 50 years old now. We fast forward till they're 60. And we say, okay, at the end of the day, 10 years, all right, so what we do is we take our trusty calculator. 150,000 is our present value. We're adding 10,000, or actually 14,000 a year, 10,000 for their deferral, 4,000 for the employer match. So they're adding 14,000 a year, which is your payment. You're getting 7% a year. So we get, do I write that? Well, I'll write that. 7% a year is what we're shooting for here. And we're going to do it for 10 years. And then we're going to have a future value of $502,000. So in 10 years, both are going to have $502,000. All right, so now they're 60 years old. They got 502 each in the deferred accounts. Now, when they did the deferred account, they saved $2,349 a year in taxes, as opposed to the Roth. So what they've done is they said, well, let's go ahead and invest that as well. And so that account is worth $35,392. All right, so now we take the 502 times 12, which is, well, let me just make sure we got, not times 12, times 2. So 500,000, 502 times 2 is 1.004 million plus 35,392. So their total value in these accounts is 1.04 million, just for simplicity. All right, so with me so far, 1.04 million. Now, you got to remember, this is after-tax money, so we just got to keep that in the back of our head. And this is pre-tax money. It's 1.04 million, all right, or 1.0, yeah, I guess basically $1,004,000. All right, so that's what we're looking at so far. Now they're 60 years old. Let's just say they're going to quit work. For whatever reason, they're going to quit work. And they're not going to tap into their IRA, their 401ks. They're going to let it grow, again, at a 7% a year clip. So now, let's say they got pension. And from a tax perspective, at this stage, I don't care where their income comes to quit working. But I just want to show you the perspective of the income from where it comes in the future and the tax ramifications there is. So they got $1 million, right? And they're still going to get 7% a year. So what does that grow to in 10 years? Well, if you remember the rule of 72, and I did other videos about that, it grows to $2 million. It doubles every 10 years. So now that $1 million will be worth, we'll put that back in the middle, 208. Oops. Let me erase that. By the time they're 70 years old, actually, let's do it like this. Oops, 2080. All right, so you're with me so far. So now they got $2.08 million in their portfolio at 70. Anything jump out at you here? Anything at all that says, ooh, what does that mean? Well, let's first and foremost, let's look at this. We'll just scratch the $80,000 and say that's after-tax money because there's no deferrals there, which also means it's not subject to required distributions. So let's just say now they get $2 million at required distributions. because they're 70 years old. So we take our trusty calculator, $2 million divide by 27.4 means they're going to have to take out $73,000 in RMDs. Now that's going to be taxable as income. Now we're not done on this side yet with the Roth. They're still going to have RMDs on the Roth as well, the Roth side of it, but I'll show you here in just a second the difference here. So remember, that is not that crazy talk. We're only talking 7% a year. We're talking the deferring, what's that, 20% of their, 20% of their income into their 401k, be it through the Roth or be it for the traditional. But we're talking in terms of the growth that we're going to get with the match, and we're talking a pretty big amount of money. When they're 70 years old, they have $2 million in their account, starting with $150 each of $300,000 when they're 50. It's not that unfeasible to think about. Now life comes, I get all that, but just to show you the value of the Roth, we'll stop it here, and I'll show you what happens on the Roth side next. All right, so stay with me. Thanks now.